Welcome back to another Ret Paladin video. Verabin here. Today we are on the PTR, newly released. All the talents are up there, so we are doing some testing today. Specifically, we're looking at Consecration. We're trying to figure out if we can invest a little bit of talent points into Consecration. Does it actually make a difference? Is the damage meaningful? So let's jump right in. Alright, so real quick, this is the talent build that I am running right now on the PTR. I'm picking up all of the important AoE talents, things like Hallowed Ground, things like Incandescence. I'm not sure which of these two choice nodes we'll need, but we're just kind of picking one at random. We are taking Golden Path. We're deciding to take Golden Path instead of Holy Aegis. So we're losing 2% critical, but I want to see how much healing this actually does. I opted not to take Seal of Mercy. I don't really have the points for it right now, but we are down here taking Sanctified Wrath, and I do want to do some testing on Seal of Order as well. That actually changed recently, where instead of increasing your flash flight damage, it actually increases the cooldown, or I'm sorry, increases the how quickly your abilities come up faster by 10%. So that's kind of interesting. That's on your Judgment, Crusader Strike, Blade of Justice. So we'll have to see about that. And then in the Ret tree, we are taking Sanctification, which I think is going to be extremely strong for this build in particular. We're taking all the other important AoE talents like Consecrated Blade, Truth's Wake, Tempest of the Lightbringer, Imperium Power, which doesn't seem as good, but we'll take a look and kind of show you what's going on there. We're also taking Empyrean Endowment to give us a little bit more of that Vanquisher's Hammer proc, and then obviously we're taking Divine Toll because that's going to do really good AoE damage for us when it's combined with Divine Resonance. Okay, so you can see I'm doing testing on the PTR here on some of these target dummies, and basically what we're trying to figure out is the damage that Consecration is doing is meaningful. You can see the ticks happening in the background. You can see they're about 500, 600 damage, and then they can pop up and obviously they can crit and doing upwards of 12, 1300 damage. So that doesn't seem that crazy, but keep in mind, because of Consecrated Blade, you're going to have two of those going at once. So if they were to crit all the time, obviously you'd be doing about 1200, 1300 DPS for each Consecration. So the damage can add up. It's pretty meaningful. However, what I think is more meaningful is the combination of Consecrated Blade and Calm Before the Storm and Sanctification. So Sanctification is going to be feeding us holy power every time Consecration does damage. It does seem to proc from both the regular Consecration and the Consecrated Blade version. So when I have both of them up, I can see I just constantly get fed more holy power, and you have to actually be careful about capping on holy power constantly. So that kind of speaks well for using of Dusk and Dawn. I'm not using it in these clips, but it'll allow us to. We're going to constantly be at 5 holy power, so it's going to allow that that bonus to be up all the time. And we're actually pretty GCD locked. You can see there's probably maybe a couple times where I run out of buttons to press, but between all the procs that we're getting as far as Divine Purpose and Empyrean Endowment, from Divine Resonance, from Sanctification, we're just constantly getting fed procs that we can then use, and that's on top of the procs we already kind of have through Wake of Ashes and Ashes to Dust. So all of those procs are going to constantly be feeding us more holy power. We're going to be able to just constantly spam Divine Storm, and it's actually a pretty fun playstyle. You can see that it's very it's a lot different than playing AoE right now. Because you do have access to a couple more buttons that you're going to want to press. It's going to increase the value of using Blade of Justice. Obviously, it's already good because you're going to want to be doing more Divine Storms, but keeping up those Consecrations is actually pretty good. And then the other thing I want to mention on Consecration was, Golden Path healing doesn't seem that great. I mean, it's something, but I think that it's going to have to be tuned a little bit more, or you may have to take Seal of Mercy for it to really be beneficial. Some of this stuff could also change a little bit when we get access to, Final Reckoning, and we get access to, maybe Seal of Order in the Mad Paragon. There's some other changes that that could occur to the rotation. And in the Ret tree, we'll also have access to some other AoE talents, things like Boundless Judgment, and stuff like that. So overall, the AoE damage actually felt really, really good. I couldn't get the damage meter to work on the PTR, so unfortunately I don't really know how much damage it's doing, but you can see in the clips that we're pretty well, we have a lot of buttons to press, and that feels good on AoE, so that we're not just sitting there idle, because sometimes Ret has had an issue with that in the past. But this build actually might have too many procs, and we might be too GCD locked. There are times where I had to make a decision between hitting Consecration or hitting Blade of Justice to pop another Consecration down and things like that. So I'm constantly getting fed proc, so it might be like a little too proc heavy if I had to say, but at first glance it seems like this build is going to be really strong, so I'm really looking forward to continuing testing. Please be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace. Yeah.